The shutters of a garage door rolled up at the back of a police station this evening in a small Norfolk town. Two cars drove out of the gates. In the back of one of them, behind the tinted windows, was, it transpired, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. And this is how we know. A photographer caught what will become an iconic image of the one-time prince on his 66th birthday. Looking much like a deer in the headlights, seemingly reclined to position himself out of view of the cameras, but evidently without success. It is one single photograph that encapsulates what has happened to this former Duke and younger brother of King Charles. Within the hour, in the darkness of the Sandringham estate, the same car drove at speed into his home at Wood Farm. He's been released by police but remains under investigation. The day ended in a dramatic manner, and it started in one too, when on the King's Norfolk estate, unmarked police cars drove along the track to Andrew's home. At breakfast time, they arrived unannounced. Andrew wasn't expecting it, nor was the King told that his younger brother was about to be arrested. In the end, Andrew spent the best part of 10 hours in police custody, questioned on suspicion of misconduct in public office. At the same time, Thames Valley Police said they were searching addresses here in Norfolk and in Berkshire. At Royal Lodge in Windsor, where Andrew had been living until the start of this month, black vans were filmed entering the grounds earlier today. At midday, the first response from Buckingham Palace, and the statement was signed Charles R., meaning this was from the King himself. He spoke of how he had learned with the deepest concern of his brother's arrest and insisted a full, fair and proper process should follow in terms of the investigation. The King repeated he was ready to fully cooperate with the police, and then in the starkest way possible he wrote, "Let me state clearly, the law must take its course." And this afternoon, just as he pledged he would, the King continued with his public engagements.
Do you have any reaction to the arrest of your brother, sir?
Your Majesty, how are you feeling after your brother's arrest?
Today's diary did not change, but the questions on his arrival did.
Have you spoken to your brother, Your Majesty?
He had all his senior staff with him. He knows, just as they know, what a precarious moment this is. As for another of Queen Elizabeth's children, Princess Anne, her diary today included a visit to a prison. She didn't cancel it.
What's your reaction to your brother's arrest, Your Royal Highness?
Like her brother, she heard the question but didn't respond. So why did police launch a criminal investigation? It followed an assessment of the most recently released Epstein files made public by the US Department of Justice. Those files appeared to show emails from the then Prince Andrew to Jeffrey Epstein at around the time they were photographed in Central Park in New York. Police are investigating if confidential papers about business opportunities were shared by the then Prince and if that amounts to misconduct in public office. At the time, Andrew was a trade ambassador on behalf of the British government, a role which would have given him access to sensitive and confidential documents. The arrest is not connected to claims made by Andrew's accuser, the late Virginia Giuffre. Nor was it the result of new claims a woman was trafficked to Andrew for sex in 2010. Police are still assessing those. After the arrest, a response from the Foreign Secretary, who told ITV News in New York the police must be allowed to do their work.
There is a police investigation underway, and it is immensely important that that investigation can take its course. As the Prime Minister has said, no one is above the law.
The King may not have been told in advance of his brother's arrest, but any sensible analysis of the situation would have indicated this day might come, and it leaves the royal family wounded.
They're supposed to stand for probity, they're supposed to stand for stability, and instead, whatever anybody has done or hasn't done, what you're not seeing is accountability in any voluntary way.
This is a seismic moment for monarchy. King Charles said today his family will continue in our duty and service to you all. Continuing as normal might be the ambition, it will be very hard to achieve in practice. Chris Ship, News at 10.
Well, Sandringham, the royal family's private estate, was supposed to provide Andrew with a quieter, lower-profile bolt hole after Windsor, following his dismissal from public life. But this morning, it was pushed into the spotlight, and this evening, as we saw, its entrance was illuminated with the flashlights of dozens of cameras. Well, Neil has spent the day there watching the comings and goings, plenty of them there have been. Andrew is back there tonight, Neil. Just talk us through what you've seen.
Julie, a day of extraordinary developments here at Sandringham. At 8:05 this evening, we filmed Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor as he returned here to home farm. As we know, he spent the day at Aylsham Police Investigation Centre. It's about an hour's drive or so from where we are. And he was photographed, as we saw there at the beginning of Chris's report, leaving that police station on his way back to home farm. The events here this morning started in dramatic style around 8 o'clock when officers from Thames Valley Police, backed up by Norfolk Police, carried out this arrest on Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor and also took searches of evidence here from home farm as well. In terms of on the ground here, we've seen an increased media presence as the day has gone on, not just from the UK media, but from around the world as well. We are used to covering royal events here. One thinks of the family gathering at Christmas, for instance, but none of us can remember a day like this. Speaking to people in this community, there is a deep sense of respect and support for the royal family. Some people said to me they felt deep shock at what had happened. Some said they weren't surprised. But Julie, at the end of this day tonight, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor is about a quarter of a mile away from where I am, up this dark lane, inside home farm, no doubt pondering all of these events, wondering what's next.
Indeed, Neil, thank you very much indeed for that. Well, allegations of links between Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor and Jeffrey Epstein date back 2 decades. It's the ongoing release of millions of documents that has exposed Mr Mountbatten-Windsor to scrutiny of his behaviour and brought about his downfall. 6 months ago, the depths of that downfall, though, would have been impossible to imagine.
These peas are all in the green. Fuel is sufficient at 500 kilograms.
From fighting in the Falklands to fighting for his freedom, how did Andrew fall quite so far from prince to police suspect?
He's also known as Action Man 2.
During his youth in the military, he had a glowing royal reputation. Now a criminal one is a possibility. His arrest relates specifically to his time as trade envoy and whether he abused his position for his own gain. That is separate to any accusations about the abuse of women in association with Jeffrey Epstein. It was this photo with Virginia Giuffre which created a very different royal image, hardly improved by the Newsnight interview that followed.
Do you remember her?
No. I have no recollection of ever meeting her.
But after eventually settling out of court with Giuffre, still Andrew retained a place at Queen Elizabeth's side, though stripped of some of his titles. Last year, his brother removed the rest, as well as his home at Royal Lodge.
This is just an extraordinary fall from grace. Here was the man that was born into wealth and privilege, a Royal Naval officer, decorated, and now he's been languishing in a police station all day today on his 66th birthday, answering questions.
And even the sight of today's police presence does not do justice to the scale of this scandal. So far, the investigation into the Epstein files has drawn in 10 police forces and agencies. It was Thames Valley Police who made the arrest today over claims of misconduct in a public office. They're also assessing separate claims that a woman was trafficked to have sex with Andrew. Norfolk Police, which covers Sandringham, says it's reviewing documents in the Epstein files, while the Met Police are looking into Andrew's close protection officers, as well as investigating claims about Lord Mandelson. They're being supported by Wiltshire Police. Essex, Bedfordshire and West Midlands are all looking into private flights chartered by Epstein through their airports in their areas, while Surrey is seeking information about an allegation of human trafficking and sexual assault in the mid-90s. All forces are being coordinated by the National Police Chiefs Council and the National Crime Agency. No serving officer will ever have interrogated a royal before.
They could have invited Andrew in for an interview They could have done it by a solicitor, but they chose not to. They chose to make the arrest. It then gives them the power to search the property he was in Sandringham, but all the other properties that are connected with him. So they'll be seeking computer equipment, laptops, mobiles.
If Andrew's charged, if he's found guilty, having spent most of his life as His Royal Highness, he could spend the rest in the depths of prison. Paul Brand, News at 10.
Well, I'm joined now by Chris to discuss what has been an extraordinary day by any measure, and I suppose the leaping off point for our conversation needs to be that remarkable image.
Yes, I mean, we've seen it a couple of times already in this programme. It's probably worth just having a look at it again. I mean, photographers always try and get this kind of photograph when vans or cars come in and out of buildings. It was a chap called Phil Noble from Reuters who took this image tonight. And, you know, nothing else really sums up his fall from grace more than this particular photo. And, of course, he is released, still under investigation. And we're talking here about just one criminal investigation. As Paul was just saying there's all these other assessments going on as a result of information that have come out of the Epstein files. And, you know, it just struck me when you said it at the top, and I've heard it a few times today, the last time a senior royal was arrested was King Charles I in the middle of the 1600s. I mean, it does, you know, it makes you sort of stop and think about the historic nature of today. What does the palace do now? Well, look, they've weathered storms and shocks before, abdication crises, death of Princess Diana, Harry and Meghan accusing them of racism. You know, they will get through this, but this is a really important moment, a moment of jeopardy for British monarchy.